morning, everyone. Good evening and good afternoon to viewers from all walks of life. This is Desomos, and you're welcome to the channel of truth, enlightenment, freedom, and the channel of breaking empaths free. If you are new on this channel, I talk about narcissism and narcissistic abuse. I talk about spirituality, and I talk about personal and self-development. And if any of that resonates with you, I invite you guys to join us. Give us a like, share this video with your friends, and you may subscribe if you haven't already. And for those that have always been with us, you are welcome back. And I thank you for your love and support. So in this video today, I'm going to revisit narcissism, and I'm going to revisit the process of healing. You guys who are living the narcissist, or who have lived the narcissist, or who are about to leave the narcissist. So there's eventually going to be a lot of healing that's going to take place. And I can guarantee you as well, also according to my personal experience, that it's very difficult to heal from these individuals. It's very, very difficult. You know, it takes a lot of work. So usually in my videos, you guys have heard me talking about energy. You've heard me talking about making healing your priority, because I know exactly what I'm talking about. So when I'm talking about these things of narcissism and narcissists and everything, I know exactly what I'm talking about. And there is something what you have to know, guys, even before I dive into the heart of this video. So there is something what we have got to be aware of. We have got to be aware of energy. Now, in my journey, I've experienced this kind of energy, and a lot of you guys, I know you can resonate with this. You can concur with me. I know exactly what kind of energy the narcissist harbors. They harbor a very low vibrational energy. Now, as an empath, you carry very good energy with you. You know what I mean? So this is even the first reason why the narcissist had to go with you in the first place. That's because you harbor a very good energy. And the only reason why they came in, well, a lot of psychologists and science and all these kind of things, they're going to talk about supply. But it's all about the energy, you know what I mean? So it's all about your good energy that you've got to offer. This can be the way you treat them, the way you validate them, whatever you have to offer to them. So the psychology will look at it as supply. But normally, in the spiritual aspect, we look at this thing as energy. And the narcissist, because those individuals are empty souls, they are empty vessels. So what you do, you as an empath, when they meet you, what they do, they start to siphon that energy from you. So in one way or the other, you start to empowering them and exchanging energies. And in return, what they do, they give you their negative energy and they take your good energy from you. But there's something what you've got to understand, guys. When the narcissist is leaving you, for the most of you guys who have left the narcissist, you can concur. When the narcissist is leaving you, they leave you with a very bad energy. Even in the first place, the reason why they leave you is just because for a very long period of time, you guys have been exchanging a lot of energy with them. So they have been siphoning your good energy, and you've been taking their bad energy from them. So there's been some kind of an energy exchange happening between those entanglements. So a lot of guys, what they have done when they leave those individuals, the first thing they do, they are pointing fingers at them. They are going around looking for them. They are sneaking around on their social media. They're doing all these kind of things to make sure that they try to keep a tag on them. And that is where the mistake happens, because when you're leaving a narcissist, you have got to remember, guys, you're supposed to break the cycle. So when you're leaving this kind of individuals, it is important for you to find ways how to break that cycle, because for you to be able to break a trauma bond, you also have got to break that cycle in one way or the other, shape or form. So what happens is that the first thing what you need to do when you leave them, it is very important, guys. A lot of people have talked about no contact. Now, when we're talking about no contact, that means that the narcissist wants you to keep on sneaking up on them. You see, what they will do when they discard you, or when you discard them, can be vice versa. What they will do, they're going to turn around and go with somebody new. They're going to jump onto the next relationship, the next victim. I call it the next victim. It's not even a relationship. So they jump onto the next victim. And they'll start that cycle again. But at the same time, they also want to keep a tag on you, because remember, for the narcissist, in their mind, they are programmed to think that you are some kind of a fuel for them. So even if you've left them as a fuel, as a supply source, even if you have left them and discarded them, what they will do, they will keep on sneaking up on you, because they know at some point in time you belong to them. So they take you, the person, the victim of that abuse, they take you as their own property. So they view people as property. They don't view people as human beings or as normal human beings. They view people as property. It's like they're some kind of a possession. It's their personal possession. So what you do now, when you go out there and you keep on sneaking up on them, you go around, for example, sometimes you're checking on their social media pages, you know, you're looking, what are they doing? Because usually what they want you to do, they want you to keep on looking at them. They want you to have that kind of is one way of activating the trauma bond. So they activate the trauma bond in you, whereby that trauma bond now will allow you or push you or sometimes force you to keep on sneaking up on them. You're going to be checking around their social media sites. What they will do, sometimes they will go on their media pages, they will start to post their new supplies, they will start to post their new cars, their vacation spots and the things like that. They want you to look at their pictures, and that's why they make most of those things public. For you to understand that you're dealing with a very, very seriously disturbed individual is a person who discards you, and in the next 2 days or the next 1 day, sometimes it can even happen on that same day, that person goes to a new victim or a new supply. It is one of the most confusing things that an empath will ever experience. Getting discarded, and all of a sudden you see that individual you've been dating, you've been married to for 25 years, 14 years or whatever. They have already moved on with somebody new like you never existed. It is very, very confusing, people. I can guarantee you. I've experienced this thing as well. It is very, very confusing. And you will try to, that is exactly what is going to confirm to you that you've been dealing with somebody extremely unhealthy and extremely sick. So they want you to keep on checking up on them. So they set up these trauma bonds and do these kind of tricks, games and whatever, because they want you, when you leave them, you'll go and open their social medias, you know what I mean? Sometimes there's a lot of victims. They'll try to go around and sneak around their previous homes where they've been living. They'll look around. What are they doing? Who is coming into the house? And these things like that. Guys, I can guarantee you it is important for you to know all these things are setups. The narcissist does these things systematically to set you up, because they know at some point in time, the cycle they have started all over again with the new potential source of supply, the cycle that they have started all over again, that cycle is going to come to the end the same way it did with you. So when they're with the new supply, what happens is that they continue that same cycle. They have been with you. They will love bomb them. They will trauma bond them. At some point in time later on, they will devalue them. And then they're going to discard those guys exactly the same way they did to you. That's why you see, sometimes you see the narcissist who is going to all of a sudden show up in a couple of years. Those guys, they can even show up after 5 years. They're not ashamed to discard you sometimes. And then they're going to show up later on after 5 years, 6 years, 10 years. And then they want to get back with you. You know what I mean? That is because the narcissist can never forget about you. You as an empath, the person who has always provided a very significant amount of fuel to those individuals, they can never forget about you, and they will always reminisce and miss those old days. Yes, the reason why they discard you is because at that point in time, normally you've got nothing to offer. So at the end of those entanglements, the empath usually has been drained of their energy and they have got nothing to offer. So that's the reason why the narcissist has got to stop that partnership and go to somebody new, a fresh source of supply, who is going to refuel them, who is going to refuel them and give them more energy than you have been doing, because at that point in time you have run out, your batteries have run low and you have nothing more to offer. So the healing is very important for you to understand, guys, that the reason why most of the people talk about going no contact is one of the biggest things you can ever do for yourself. Going no contact, when people talk about going no contact, people are talking about things like blocking them. So for example, you guys might have had social media accounts, you might have had their numbers in your phone, social media, all these kind of pages and things like that. So when the people are talking about no contact, what people are trying to talk about is that you are supposed to start deleting and removing their phone numbers from your phone. Because every moment you look at your phone and you're scrolling through the list and everything like that, and you come across their names or their pictures or things like that, that is exactly when the trauma bond is now starting to get reactivated. You see what I mean? So if a person is trying to get out of the trauma bond and block the trauma bond and break the trauma bond, the very first thing what they do, you go no contact. No contact helps you in a sense whereby you are now not going to be able to look at them. Even if you're holding your phone with you, so you're scrolling, you will not see their names, you will not see their pictures on those social media accounts. Actually, I've even advised some of the guys, what you do usually, you're supposed to remove them from the social media pages. Even sometimes I've advised people to get out of social media for a while, because if you're a person who is struggling to heal, what you're supposed to know, the last thing you want for yourself is anyone to interrupt your healing process. So what you do, you get off social media for a while. You can set yourself a limit. You can say, okay, so you're not going to go on social media for 3 days, maybe for a week, maybe for 2 weeks or so. For me, I think it was about a month or something like that. So I had to go off social media for a month because I did not want to see anything to do with that individual. So because the more you see, guys, the more you see is the more you miss them. Whenever you look at those pictures, all these things, what is happening, guys, is energy. And the only thing what the narcissist wants you to do is to go there on their social media pages and keep on sneaking up on them and looking what they are doing, their new supplies. And in most of the cases, you're going to start feeling very, very bad about yourself. They're going to make sure that they are dressed well. You know, the new supplies, they've got the best makeup. They have bought a new car. They have bought a new house. All these kind of things. They're going to make you think that there's something to miss. Guys, I can guarantee you have left the narcissist. There's nothing you're missing. The narcissist has done you a favor to discard you, or you discarded them. You've done yourselves a favor. There's nothing you're missing. It does not matter what they have. Guys, I can guarantee you they can buy the most recent Mercedes. They will post it online, or you may hear it from the neighbors. But I can guarantee you guys, there's nothing you're missing. So blocking is very important. From the phones, from the social media, from all this any kind of contact you have got with those guys. And not only do you block the narcissist, but you also go ahead and block all those individuals that have been a part of that system. So if you guys have been involved with other family members in the cycle, you guys have been having a lot of family members around. A lot of those family members, especially the narcissist family members, they have usually been flying monkeys. Until now, I've discarded so many narcissists in my life, but until now, I get flying monkeys coming around. Oh, you should come back. We miss you, and those kind of things like that. And those are the last things I want to hear. But at this point, of course, I've healed enough whereby I can recognize that this is a hover. You know what I mean? So the narcissists, what they will do, they will keep on sending a little bit of these flying monkeys here and there, go and spy on these guys. So sometimes you will see those particular individuals, the relatives you guys used to hang around with, they will come around and sneak at your workplace. Sometimes they will drive by your place. Oh, I came around just to check on you because I understand you guys separated, you guys divorced. I just want to check on you to see if everything is okay. So they're going to come around and buy you some little gifts. They will come around with a new phone. They will come around with a new T-shirt. Oh, I was in the market and then I thought that this is nice for you. I feel sorry for you. Then they're coming around and giving you little presents. Guys, when you're talking about no contact, everybody has got to go. So it doesn't matter. It does not matter, guys. It does not matter what has been your experience with those family members around you. Everybody has got to go. You have got to block everybody out of your life. In some cases, I've even sometimes advised guys to completely extract themselves even from that vicinity, the house you guys have been living. It has been even sometimes necessary for you to get out of that house and go find somewhere new, a secret place where you're going to have your healing happen. Because the more you keep around the vicinity, the same place you guys have always been, it is going to bring back a lot of memories. So you may sometimes see a person that has been discarded by a narcissist and they're still living in the same house. I can guarantee you, because you've been trauma bonded and you haven't yet broken that trauma bond. So what usually will happen is that anytime you come out from work, you come back from work, or you come back from outside, or things like that, the very moment you open the door, that trauma bond is going to be activated, because now you're going to almost see the narcissist moving around in that vicinity. You see them around in the bathroom. Even sometimes people have reported seeing them physically. I know some people I've talked with and they have told me that sometimes they felt like some kind of voices around in the house. Sometimes they were going around and in the living room, they had a knock on the door, only to open. They see the narcissist standing outside. And 2 minutes later or 3 minutes later, that person is gone. So what is happening is that, guys, a trauma bond is a very, very strong energetic connection between you and the narcissist. And the trauma bond is activated because the trauma bond is meant to tie you to them. You know what I mean? They have got to tie you to them in some kind of a way whereby even if you leave them, so for example, you may leave them, they go on with their lives, you go on with your life, they married, they get children or things like that, they move to new cities or things like that. That trauma bond is always what will keep you tied to them. So at some point, they know that you're going to be coming around, you're going to be missing them, you'll be thinking about them, you'll be going around checking what they're doing, you'll be thinking, they're going to make sure that they make you miss them. The narcissist is going to make you to miss them. But guys, I'll guarantee you from experience, there's nothing you're missing. The only thing you're supposed to count is your blessing. When you've left the narcissist, you're supposed to count your blessings. Guys, if I kept on hanging around and sneaking around the narcissist and keeping on tagging them and checking on them and doing things like that, I would never be able to become that person I am today, guys. So what I mean is, for the most of the victims, I know it is sometimes hard to understand this. It is very, very difficult to understand. But as a person who has been there, a person who has walked that journey, I will tell you from experience that it's very, very important. The number one thing that will ever help you as an individual is to go no contact. So when the narcissist has left your life, it is a step that you're going to take when you want to heal. So you get away from them, forget about them, you start blocking them. It is going to require you some practice. And of course, the next thing what you're going to do apart from the no contact, because let's say that you've already blocked them, you've removed them from your social media, you're no longer calling them, you're no longer sneaking up on them, or even sometimes it may require you sometimes to get a new place, a new address, You may sometimes have to move to a new place, a place that is fresh, that is going to help you to create new memories for yourself, a place whereby you're not going to be able to look back and miss them. So you may have some time to move to a new vicinity, a new environment, a new flat, a new home. Sometimes people, me personally, when I was moving out from the narcissist, I had to stay with a friend for some time. So I stayed with a friend of mine for about, I think it was about 2 weeks or something like that. Then I organized myself until I went on and found my own place. So do not be afraid, guys, to start again. I know it is going to be painful. It is very difficult to understand that you have been with somebody for 20 years, 14 years. In this case, I'm talking about the relationship. When you guys have been married or sometime you have been having a long relationship with them. So it may be hard to understand that you've left somebody and you're going to start all over again. You know what I mean? So for the men out there, because normally the men, I think the men get impacted the most, because normally the men, when they're living this kind of situationships, what they do is that they have to get out of the house and they have to go with nothing and start all over again. So it takes a really brave heart to do that. Well, I did that, guys, and I can guarantee you guys out there, you can also do it. So if you're a woman out there, sometimes you may see the man leaving the house, but it may require you to actually have to go and find a new place for yourself, a place whereby you're going to activate that healing to start and take place. You know what I mean? So another thing what you can do, guys, for you to have a successful healing is I've talked about the no contact, I've talked about the blocking, and I've talked about removing all these kind of family members, friends, everybody that was involved in that partnership, everybody that you knew as a team, as a partnership, everybody has got to go. So you stop communicating with all those individuals. Because sometimes the narcissists, what they do also, they can send the grandmother, they can send the auntie, go and check on them, what are they doing, and give me some information. So sometimes you will see them, they will be in a new relationship, and then what they will do, they will send the uncle, go to the house and see what she's doing, go and see how she's feeling. So the uncle will come around and they start telling, oh, you know what, you guys separated and this. So the uncle is going to pretend that they're on your side. But those uncles and aunties and those guys who are coming around and sneaking up on you, all those individuals, guys, I can guarantee you, they do not have your best interests at heart. The only thing they are doing is they are getting information that they're going to feed back to the narcissist. So they're coming around to get information so that they can report back to the narcissist. So it's the narcissist who is sending all those kind of individuals you're seeing around you. That is why the importance of removing all these kind of individuals all over again. You have got to start from scratch, guys. I can guarantee you it's very important to know that every great thing and every great person starts with a small step. So the small step you're going to take is you understanding that it is okay to be alone. It is okay to go out yourself, to start everything from scratch. Guys, it's going to be very painful, I can guarantee you. I told you guys many times that I've left the narcissist. I did not have a penny in my wallet. Those days, I remember I was struggling with jobs and everything. So when we got to the end of the discard, I had to make sure that I move out with faith. So a person who's going to leave the narcissist, you're going to use a lot of faith. It's going to take you a lot of faith. It's going to take you a lot of courage. Guys, you're going to pick up yourself. You're going to pick yourself back up from the floor, and you're going to start walking again, and you're going to walk with faith. I can guarantee you everything later on is going to fall into place. There will be baby steps you will take, but everything is going to fall into place. So remove those guys and remove that energy out of your life. Get that energy out. Let them go. Let the flying monkeys go. Let all these people, relatives and everything, everybody that has ever known you with a narcissist, let them go, guys. Is important so that you can now start to create new memories. You will get new friends. You're going to meet new people. You're going to get new friends. You're going to get people who mean you well. The new people who are supposed to come into your life, those are the individuals who did not know you before when you was in that partnership. So you now get those new guys. They will come along, they will meet you, and they will start this healing process with you. So the next thing, what is also going to help you to break the trauma bond, because remember, when you're healing, you're also trying to break the trauma bond. So you're trying to break that emotional connection that you have with the narcissist, that exact connection that keeps you getting stuck with them and keep on thinking about them. So me personally, I use sound frequencies. In my recent video, I told you about the solfeggio frequency, which is the 396 Hz. That is one of the biggest frequencies that has been able to break away from the trauma bond. So it has helped me a great deal. I use that frequency for 1 month. For most of you guys who don't know about that, you can go back to my videos. I'll put the link below. The solfeggio frequency, the 396 Hz, it has also helped me to break away and to break free from the narcissist forever. So another thing which is very practical, this one is going to be very, it may require you a lot of guts, but some people may not understand this, but something else what you have got to do is to start to program your mind that, okay, so you are happy, you're okay, you're relieved, and you're released from the narcissist. So that means that even if, so for example, you can find a situation whereby you guys have got children together. So sometimes you may find, because I think most of the guys who have left narcissists, they have got children together with them. So sometimes you may see, you may have to come around to the place where you guys have been living to see your kids or to pick up your kids. Sometimes you may have to go, they may have to come to you. So whichever way it is, anytime when you see the narcissist, guys, I can guarantee you this is going to work for you. You have got to show them, do not show them, don't ever, guys, let me repeat this, do not ever show the narcissist that you're suffering. Do not show them your pain. It is going to require you a lot of practice to do this. It is going to be very difficult, but guys, I can guarantee you as a person who has healed from this kind of individuals, it is very important to show the narcissist that you are not suffering, you are not missing them, and you are not in pain. So do not ever make sure that they see you in a very sorry state, you crying, you know, you're locked in yourself in there, you're crying, you're miserable, you're sad, or things like that. You have got to practice what they call happiness. Practice that happy hormone in you. Some people want to go to do a lot of exercise. So there are some people who have left those kind of individuals. They try to go to exercise and do gym and things like that. Some people try to do yoga and this and that. Anything you can do to activate the happy hormone. But even then, you have not been able to start those kind of practices like the gym and the yoga and all these kind of other fitness classes. Or even sometimes it can be something as simple as jogging. Anytime you meet the narcissist, remember to practice something, what they call activate the happy hormone. So anytime you see the narcissist, do not ever shed a tear in front of the narcissist. Let me tell you something, guys, very important, listen to this one. Do not ever shed a tear in front of the narcissist. When you're shedding the tear in front of the narcissist, that gives them a lot of power. That makes them realize that actually, this person, I still have a hold on these individuals. So I still have a hold on them and I can control them whenever I want. So what they will do, they are not going to start using that against you. So they'll start coming around and showing up in your vicinity because they know that the moment you see them, and of course what they will do, they'll make it even more painful. So they're going to come and show up in a new car. You know, they're going to buy a new car, come and show up in your place. So sometime maybe let's say they're dropping off the kids. You will see them coming around in a new car. You know, they have bought the new clothes and all these kind of things. They've got a new watch. You know, sometimes they are shining. They're going to make sure that they activate the trauma bond anytime they meet you. So you have got to know how to practice happiness. Try to make a smile. Pull out a smile even if you don't feel it in your soul. You have got to make sure your brain practice happiness. So anytime you see them, you meet them, put a smile on your face. Even if sometimes you meet them, sometimes you may find a situation whereby you guys are working together, you work in the same vicinity, in the same environment. You see them guys in that place. Of course, as you plan to leave that place, because eventually you're not going to stay in the same place with the same place of work with the narcissist. You may have, of course, eventually to change and find a new job or something like that. But even if it has not yet happened and you're still seeing them around, they're still popping around, you have got to make sure that anytime you see them, you pull a smile. Guys, make sure that you train your brain to pull a smile. It is very, very important because now your brain is going to start to activate you towards the happiness. You know what I mean? Towards that happiness that you're looking for. So you pull a smile in front of them. Hey, hello, you okay? You know, everything's okay. I remember for me, in those days, the nurses will pull around. You know, sometimes they will come around with the kids or something like that. The only thing I did was smile. Guys, I made sure that every moment I saw the nurses, I had a smile on my face. So I made sure that I never show the nurses in any way that I missed them. So you pull a smile and you show them that you are doing well, you are perfect, life is perfect, and you're happy without them. It does not matter, guys, even if you don't have food in your house to eat, because of course, sometimes it may happen that you have left them and you're struggling with finances and things like that. You haven't got money with you. Maybe sometimes you between switching jobs, you're looking for a new job. You're going to struggle financially, guys. It's one of the processes you're going to face, encounter, and unfortunately, I've got to let this out there. Financial difficulties are going to happen at the end of those entanglements, guys. I'll guarantee you it has happened to me, and it may also happen to you. If it hasn't already, it may happen to you. So you may be struggling financially. You may not have food in your home. You may even sometimes not have a place to stay. But anytime you know that narcissist is coming around in your vicinity, because they will always do. It doesn't matter how far you go or you leave them. They'll always come around and sneak around with you. So you practice the happy hormone and the happy, you activate that happy hormone in you. Put a smile on your face. Guys, it can be a fake smile, but that smile eventually is going to become real. If you can do that every time you meet the narcissist for at least a good period of time, could be a month, could be 2. If you're meeting the narcissist every week or things like that, your brain now is going to start programming itself to become happy, to give you the happiness, the real happiness that you need. So whenever you see the narcissist, pull a smile, and it is going to confuse those individuals, completely confuse them, because they will be thinking, I just discarded this individual yesterday or the other week or the other month, but all of a sudden I'm seeing them happy, they are shining, they are glowing, you know what I mean? They seem satisfied and content with themselves. That is exactly what confuses the narcissist, and actually that is even one of the things that will help you even break the trauma bond even deeper. You know what I mean? Because when the narcissist has got that energy in them, that all that person misses me. Whenever she sees me, whenever he sees me, they are crying, or they're sometimes feeling sorry about everything, they're apologizing, they're like this. That is exactly what keeps on activating that trauma bond. But when you start pulling up a smile, it's a very, very simple technique. Guys, it's a simple technique. It's painful, but simple at the same time. You pull a smile in their face when you see them. Even if you see a picture, maybe sometime you're going through your albums, your photo albums, you're going through your records at home, and you see their pictures, you always have to pull a smile. Make sure that you can force that smile if you have to. Any moment you force that smile, it is going to remind your brain that actually you're looking for happiness, and you want to be happy, and you're looking for happiness. So your brain is going to program you towards that happiness. So pull a smile, a fake one, it can be a fake one, but you make sure that whenever you see them, pictures, or you see them physically, you pull a smile, and that smile is going to actually become real for you, and is going to help you to activate the healing to carry on, to take place. So one of the other things I had to do, apart from the no contact, the 396 hertz frequency, the fake smile and everything, I had to make sure that I keep and I introduce new memories for myself. So eventually you guys have been together for years, you've shared a lot of things together, you've experienced a lot together, you've gone through a lot. So a lot of guys who have been with these narcissists, they have gone through so much in that entanglement. So what you do now, you start to create new memories for yourself. So by creating new memories, I mean that you have to introduce the new coffee shops. You guys, you can no longer go to the same coffee shops you guys used to go, the same gyms you guys used to go. Sometimes you have got to introduce like new habits for yourself. So you might have had things that you were doing. Maybe there was a special program, a TV program you guys used to watch together on television. So you now start to introduce your own habits, new habits that are going to create new memories for yourself. Because the more you gravitate, so all these things I'm giving you guys is helping you to gravitate away energetically, not only physically. Because remember, living the narcissist physically is not the same as living them energetically. So these things I'm telling you and I'm teaching you to practice in this video is to help you to gravitate away from the narcissist energetically. You know, the whole thing is about energy. Everything is about energy. So you're getting your power away from them and your energy away from them in that kind of a way whereby now you start to introduce new memories for yourself. So whenever you go to a new place, a new pub or a new club or a new gym or a new, whatever it is, sports activity, it could even be something that you guys have been doing at home together, like watching your favorite movie or things like that. You now start to, all of these things have got to switch. You now switch to new things, because remember, you're moving towards the new version of you. So now you're introducing only new things in your life. So you forget about all those things that identified you with the narcissist. You leave all those things behind and you start one by one. These things take practice. It starts one by one to now start to introduce new habits for yourself, the habits that are going to release that energy out of your body, because you can no longer go and sit in that same coffee shop you used to sit. Eventually, when you're going there, you're going to remember, oh, you know what, this is the same place you used to sit with the narcissist. That is the same gym you guys used to go with the narcissist. So it's going to sometimes activate that energy to come back in your mind, you know. So everything is going to come back in your mind. Oh, you know, sometimes you're going to reminisce on the old times when you're still visiting those old places that you guys used to go before. So I can guarantee you guys in this video, all I'm trying to say is that it is very hard to live with a narcissist. It is very, very difficult to leave those individuals. But when you have been able to leave them, and especially after the discard, because like I've always said, there is no easy way and smooth way and very soft way to leave a narcissist. It's always going to end in drama. So the drama is going to come at the end. So whereby you guys may sometimes get involved. So the discard, sometimes it happens whereby you guys get involved in a very, very serious fight at the end. I remember myself in the end of the entanglement. Sometimes even the cops have to intervene in that situation. So the cops have to come at home. So that is why I told you guys, those individuals, when you're leaving them, it is going to be extremely dramatic. It is going to be extremely painful. But when you've had a chance to be discarded, or if you have discarded the narcissist yourself, or they have discarded you, it is your beginning point and your beginning step to the blessings and to the healing. And guys, I can guarantee you, you've also just won the jackpot. By you leaving the narcissist, you've just won the jackpot. So let me know, guys, what has been your experience in the healing process. Let me know what you've done to reach where you are. I'm talking about these guys who have healed already, who have moved away and healed. And you can also share your experiences in the comment section below, so that other guys can come around and learn from you, and we learn together, so that other people can, many victims around the world will keep on and continue getting healed after narcissistic abuse. Let me know what you think about this video in the comment section below, guys. I love you all, and I'll get back in touch with you in my next one. Much love and blessings. Desmos signing out. Peace.